We always called her my Xerox copy, because she looked just like me. Whatever age she was, that's what I looked like.
It's great to finally see a sense of closure in the Bonnie Craig case. We'd like to be able to provide these families with that same sense of closure.
Welcome back to Crime Chronicles Unearthed. Let's unravel a crime that shocked the small Alaskan town and rattled its citizens for over a decade. When vibrant university student Bonnie Craig failed to return from her routine morning walk one fall day, no one could have imagined the darkness that followed. As police chased shadows, her distraught mother Karen took matters into her own hands. She was certain something more sinister ended her daughter's bright future, launching a relentless quest for answers that could finally expose the shocking truth behind Bonnie's tragic fate. Bonnie Craig was an adventurous and vibrant 18-year-old girl living in Anchorage, Alaska in 1994. She had just begun her freshman year at the University of Alaska, excited to study art and immerse herself in campus life. Born in 1976, Bonnie grew up in a close-knit family alongside her younger sister. She attended West High School, where friends knew her as feisty yet friendly. Bonnie loved the outdoors, hiking, and cherished time with her boyfriend Matt. In late September of 1994, Bonnie's busy routine saw her rise before dawn 2 days a week. She would make the 45-minute commute on foot to catch the school bus. Though dark and brisk, Bonnie didn't mind the solitary journey. On the morning of September 28th, Bonnie said goodbye to her family as usual, but that day she never reached her 7 a.m. English class or returned home. When calls to her worried mother Karen went unanswered, a missing persons report was filed. The following afternoon, a passerby spotted something floating in McHugh Creek near Arctic Boulevard. It was Bonnie's lifeless body, partially submerged in the shallow water. Bruises, scrapes, and severe head trauma marked her once lively frame. Police retrieved Bonnie's body and began questioning locals, yet found no clear motive. Without witnesses, investigators suspected Bonnie met with an accidental death. She may have fallen from the steep cliff nearby while hiking alone that morning. Karen refused to accept such an end for her daughter. As she viewed Bonnie's body at the morgue, defensive wounds on her hands told a far more sinister scenario. Crime scene details also seemed amiss to the grieving mother. Near the creek 10 miles from Bonnie's usual bus stop lay her purse and belongings, yet no signs of how she arrived there. Furthermore, she was an avid student, unlikely to miss a class without contacting home first. Karen began demanding answers the authorities were not providing. Along with journalist Maria Downey seeking transparency, Karen pushed for the full truth rather than easy assumptions. A Freedom of Information Act request pried loose, suppressed details. 6 months later, Karen learned from documents the autopsy found probable sexual assault with semen present. Yet police claim sexual contact may have been consensual rather than assault. This contradicted their insistence. Bonnie died alone by accident. Frustrated with the slow-moving investigation, Karen took matters into her own hands. She recalled Bonnie had recently aided 2 undercover drug operations shortly before the young girl's death. Could her cooperation with police put her in danger? An informant told Karen that Bonnie's help led to several arrests, angering a powerful drug lord. In retaliation, Bonnie may have been targeted and killed as a message the day after the accused men were released on bail. Karen knew witnesses could be hard to come by for drug cartels seeking revenge. And while anonymity was ensured, the accused would know whom implicated them originally. It seems suspicious Bonnie died so soon after. When Karen shared this lead, the investigator repeatedly demanded her source rather than investigating further. But she'd promised anonymity and lacked faith in the case's direction. Karen began dedicating free hours to her own detective work. Meanwhile, a campus professor came forward with revelations about a strange student in her class on Bonnie's last morning alive. The young man's journal spoke of that day being a test he'd face. His writing seemed violent in nature, too. Other off remarks alarmed the professor. On the fateful day, the student arrived to class late, soaked and reeking of strong cologne, odd for a chilly fall morning. While troubled, he could not be definitively linked without further evidence. DNA would later clear him as well. In September 1997, Alaska State Troopers acknowledged publicly that Bonnie was raped and beaten before her death. They now believed she had been pushed or fallen over the cliff while escaping her assailant. The authorities intensified efforts to locate witnesses who could place Bonnie that morning. One neighbor reportedly saw her walking at 5:20 a.m. Another recalled spotting her at the bus stop an hour later. A third witnessed a car idling outside their home at that early hour too. Most tellingly, an anonymous caller to Alaska's Crime Stoppers hotline stated seeing Bonnie talking with two men occupying an older yellow or tan compact vehicle near the bus stop. This clue offered hope, yet the car and its occupants were never identified. For years, the case grew cold despite Karen's refusal to give up. Then, in November 2006, a major breakthrough advancing DNA technology. A match was found linking semen from Bonnie's autopsy to a man named Kenneth Dion, stored in the National CODIS database. Dion, then 36, was imprisoned in New Hampshire awaiting trial for armed robbery. Investigators learned he resided in Anchorage at the time of Bonnie's murder, on probation for robbery, and recently released from an Alaska correctional facility. He additionally had served time for assault charges in his criminal past. In May 2007, Dion was formally charged with raping and murdering Bonnie Craig over 12 years prior. Prosecutors believed the brutal crimes were random acts of violence, with Dion attacking Bonnie after offering an innocent ride that fateful morning. Dion's 4-week-long trial began in May 2011. Facing irrefutable DNA evidence, he attempted an implausible defense claiming the sexual encounter was consensual, and Bonnie later slipped and fell at the creek by herself while they spoke. However, Dion was unable to account for his own whereabouts on September 28, 1994. His alibi of being home all week did not match statements from his wife at the time. Experts also concurred Bonnie's injuries resulted from inflicted blows, not accidental falls. Moreover, leaves with her blood found high on the cliff suggested Bonnie was gravely injured elsewhere before going into the water below. Her devoted boyfriend and family members knew Bonnie would never agree to sex with a stranger, especially one as menacing as her convicted killer. On June 15, 2011, a jury found Kenneth Dion guilty of first-degree murder and sexual assault of Bonnie Craig's death. He received the maximum sentence on October 31st, 124 years behind bars, ensuring the now 50-year-old would die in prison for his heinous crimes. Bonnie's family and friends gained closure, though her memory would never be fully at peace without recovering her remains. Today would have been Bonnie Craig's 48th birthday. Though her life was tragically cut short at just 18 years old, her memory and impact continue inspiring reform over 2 decades later. Bonnie brought joy to all she knew, and her brutal murder left deep scars on her community in Anchorage, Alaska. If not for her mother, Karen's tireless efforts to enact change, Bonnie's killer may have gone unidentified for far longer than the 12 years it took police to match his DNA from the crime scene to a database. It was only through advances in forensic technology that justice was finally served. Yet the case highlighted the need for authorities to collect suspect DNA proactively upon felony arrests, not just convictions, in order to more swiftly solve violent crimes and protect other potential victims. In Bonnie's honor, Alaska updated their laws in 2007 to do just that, known as the Bonnie Craig Amendments. Bonnie's legacy serves as a reminder of lives lost to senseless acts of violence and of the power of families advocating for victims' rights to help prevent similar heartbreaks. Her story helped strengthen DNA databases nationwide as a crucial tool solving cold cases and keeping communities safer. While the tragic case ended, Karen remained a vocal advocate for victims' rights. She continues spreading awareness of Bonnie's story to honor her memory and prevent similar heartbreaks. Bonnie Craig's story showed the power of a mother's determination to find truth and justice against all odds. If you like this tragic true crime video, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more disturbing mysteries. Keep digging for dark tales each week here on Crime Chronicles Unearthed by hitting the notification bell.